Now, I will say, we can quickly, right? We can discuss, like, some strengths and weaknesses, at least, right? I think Galleon is... So, it's weird, right? Her walk speed, again, genuinely pretty good. Actually, very good. Like, this feels... Like, someone, I think, did the... Like, they did say, like, you know, her walk speed is, like, top 2 back walk speed, top 4 forward walk speed, or something like that. Her walk speed's amazing, right? Which means that when I talk about her move speed being a weakness, right? When I thought, like, her dash is horrendous. This might be... Is this the slowest dash in the game? I think it's Vasaraga still, right? I think someone said it was tied for second with Fairy, right? Well, I don't even... When Vasaraga gets up to speed, he's certainly faster. But he's real... He does look like he's walking in that first little bit, right? Matches Fairy for third? Yeah. But her dash speed is very bad. Now, I will say, normally, when we talk about speed being a problem for characters, walk speed, I think, is actually more important than dash speed in a lot of ways, right? Because walk speed is what determines how well, you know, in combination with, like, buttons and mid-screen reward and stuff like that, that's going to determine how good the character's neutral is, right? How good the character is at playing footsies, kind of walking out of range, right? She's got a decent backdash as well, right? Walking out of range, making your shit punish, like, stepping into her own range and all of this. So I actually think that it's not so bad, actually, that like... However, I do think that her dash speed is a problem in... part of it is Granblue has no dash block. Yep. So, like, neutral is much more about, like, walking, right? Than it is about dashing. However, it is a problem in that for something like if I just have Vasaraga, like, close H me, oh god, it scares me so much to even see it happen, man. And I Brave counter him, right? Oh, I want a non-hard knockdown Brave counter, actually. Is he just counter hit state the entire fucking... Excuse me? Oh no, I have counter hit on by default. Yeah, never mind. But on like non-counter hit Brave counters like this, plus 21, I'm pretty sure her ass cannot follow this up, right? Like she's not fast enough in a lot of cases, I think, especially if they're a little bit further away when you Brave counter them, like they go over there. Galleon is not going to be able to dash up and 6XL you to keep pressure here, right? So it forces her to, like, she does have to kind of, and to be fair, like a character like Vasaraga has the same problem, right? Where, like, she has to just do a different thing. Now, luckily, the reason this might not be that big of a deal, right, is that Galleon doesn't necessarily really want to, like, run up and do 6XL pressure. She certainly can, right? But she has, like, another attractive thing to do here, right? I mean, that probably is a little, I mean, even minus 30 from that far away is not that bad, but, you know, even something like this, right? Like, that's pretty good for her. Like, this is sort of where she likes to be winning the video game, is at this range, space controlling you into coming to her, right? Coming into that mid-range, right? So I don't think while it is true that her speed is going to, like, handicap her in situations like this, I don't think it matters that much, because if you're going that far away from her in the first place, if you're really close, by the way, she can, like, just do this, right? Hit you meaty, so that's fine. But again, if she gets, like, a Brave counter from a little bit further away, if you're at this range from Galleon anyway, she wants to be doing shit like this, regardless, right? And just, like, space controlling you with the meteor. So I don't think it's actually that big of a deal, right? So her walk speed is very good. Her dash speed is abysmal, but considering the way she wants to play a lot of the times, I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem. It will give her sort of like the Vasaraga Versuja weakness of her instant 6XLs are not that good, right? Now, you'll notice immediately, they are certainly better than a character like Voss, right? But because, again, her dash doesn't go that far, and her 6XL is okay, not amazing, right? Her doing, like, instant 6XL like this is not exactly going to lunge a lot, which this can be really nice for defense. And I think it is going to mean that, you know, a character like Catalina, for example, now, to be fair, Catalina does this to everyone, right? Catalina does this to the whole cast, basically. But a character like Catalina, standing right around here, right? Standing in the Granblue zone, as it were, kind of right under the clock, and it's kind of walking back and forth and using her big buttons to lock you down in the corner forever, right? I think something like this is going to be a little bit difficult, right? It's going to be a little bit difficult for Galleon to deal with. Because usually if someone's being a little too passive at this distance, one of the things that's kind of baked into Rising is that you can, you know, you can kind of dash up for a second, 6XL, and if they're being a little too passive, just waiting back and forth and not asserting themselves, you get plus frames and it's your turn now. Galleon is not going to be very good at this. Versuja actually just got instant 6XL buffed, that's true, but any other 6XL nerfed, yes, also true, also true. That's a good point. Versuja did get her instant 6XL buffed in this patch. But yes, I think that is going to be a weakness for Galleon as far as defense, right? Now, the mitigating factor is, like, she does have some pretty damn good buttons, right? Like, she does have, like, this, again, mostly this thing. This thing is really nice, but again, you might be like, far H, why are you hitting far H on defense? Because your opponent's in the Grand Blue zone, right? Your opponent's over here. You're not hitting far L in these circumstances, right? And her far H is gigantic, right? Like, I wonder, is it gonna... Yeah, it's bigger than Catalina's. Now, of course, it's also, Catalina's is notably frame 9, right? So don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that she has a better far H than Catalina, but it is huge, right? One of the things that makes Catalina's, I mean, even from this distance, Catalina's far H is frame 11, right? But yeah, her far H is just straight up significantly bigger than Catalina's. It's one of the biggest far H's in the game that isn't like basically one of those joke far H's that is meant to just be essentially a dash normal, right? Like Vasaraga's far H or something like that, where it's like 19 frames, but it goes the entire screen, essentially. So this is one of the biggest far H's in the entire game. I have been told there's a decent 2B normals. Yeah. Is this like how big is this compared to 2B's 5H? I'm actually not. It's probably a little smaller, right? Like 2B 5H is barely hitting from there. Yeah, it's a little smaller, I think. Right, like 2B. Yeah, 2B has a bigger 5H, but not by a lot, right? So again, if you think about and 2B's 5H does also pay with the for the tiny extra bit of range, it pays with 1 extra frame of startup, right? So again, like this is in size a comparable far H to 2B, right? And as well, we learned at the very end of the master climb, this motherfucker is plus 16 on counter hit. So you can just link into whatever the hell she wants, basically, right? If she gets that. I mean, she can link it to 668, but that's gonna be, it's gonna be a 1-frame link. So I'm not really sure how feasible that is. But she can even, this is not gonna be a 1-frame link, you can link into this fucking thing, into 668, right? It's like her far H is going to kill you in a very similar manner to how 2B far H kills you, right? You're going to get counter hit from half the screen away, and then she's going to send you like straight to fucking Valhalla. Again, it's a link, not a cancel. She gets the meter refund, and it does more damage, right? This is so much damage for like a very resource-like combo for getting hit by a far H the size of like a third of the screen. So it's a very, very good weapon. And it's going to help her out in this sort of Grand Blue zone, right? So I think, again, that weakness kind of mitigated by her strengths, right? It's disjointed, not as big as I thought when I heard people say it was disjointed. Yeah, I think Shatter said it was about as big as Vikala's far H disjoint, which is big, but not insane, right? It's not like it's a sword normal from Smash or something, right? But yeah, so like I think, again, both of her big weaknesses in terms of like her dash speed and her potential defensive problems, I think are mitigated a little bit by some of her strengths, right? Now, of course, she still doesn't have, outside of like this range, this kind of far range, her mediums are kind of whatever. Her far M, her 2M is kind of whatever. Her 2M is a low, I think, and it's a low. That's why it's paying this price, right? But her 2M really is not the button you want to be using for this. Her far M is pretty nice, man. An 8-frame far M that's this big, right? Like, this is really not so bad. Like, this kind of sounds, like, this looks a lot like Anila's far H, except it's a frame faster, right? 2 frames faster? I think a frame faster, right? Anila's far M, sorry, am I saying far H? Anila's far M, similar, maybe a little bigger in size, right? A little bigger? Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe, okay. Like, it's gonna barely, yeah, hold on. I kind of want to find the space where it barely whiffs and then test it against it. Wow, okay, I think it is a little... Well, I mean, okay, yeah, they're comparable, right? Like, I think she would hit from here, right? And so does Galleon. Yeah. That's a good far M, man. That's a good far M, right? Like, Anila's far M is really nice size-wise, but it's 9 frames, which kind of sucks. I think it is a little bit bigger. Yeah, I think it's hitting from... Okay, well, if I put her, like... If I put the tip of her polearm at the hilt of the sword, if I put it at the tip of the hilt... If I put it here? Okay, yeah, if the tip of her polearm is at the tip of the sword, it hits, right? I'm judging it by the guy in the background, the dead soldier back there, right? So if she's like right here-ish, she hits with her far M, and Galleon's gonna miss, right? So her far M is a little bit... Oh, actually, no, she misses from here. Like right there, she'll hit probably, right? Yeah. So it's a little bigger than Galleon's far M, but again, Galleon's far M is a frame faster, right? So this is a pretty nice far M for defensive measures as well, right? Her 2M, not so much, but again, her 2M is meant to be more of a low poke than it is a defensive option, I think, right? Her 2M is more of like a toe check. It's not very big though, right? Like she's got a good far L as well, right? Like I think a perfectly serviceable far L, pretty good 2L, not a low, right? But decent range on it. I think overall, like Galleon has a good suite of buttons for neutral and for defense, which is where you would expect her to kind of struggle. I think it is, to be fair, where she is going to struggle, right? But again, it's a little hard for me to say that Galleon has, like, garbage, awful defense, something like that, when she can't, this is not insane by any means, right? But she can't do this to you off getting, like, a 2L in the corner, And this does kind of put her immediately in her win condition, as well as doing 4k damage, right? Corner carry matters, obviously, still for Galleon. But again, the fact that it leaves you kind of far away from her is pretty nice for Galleon, because it means you can do this, and again, start controlling the screen once more, right? And this is like this is a bad starter. This is not your ideal Galleon starter or anything like that, right? Like this, her getting like 2L, 2L, far L, incredibly scaled combo. Doing 4k and like moving you a pretty decent chunk across the screen and immediately getting into like her meteor win condition. So, again, I'm not really gonna say that she's got bad defense. Now, obviously, she has a meterless DP, right? That does hurt, and her meter DP is not very good, right? Yeah, the hitbox on this thing is kind of ass, and I believe it's quite minus on block as well, right? If I do get Anila to block this, minus 29, right? So it is like her DP is kind of bad, certainly. Her pokes are overall stubby, except far M being fast and long, and far H slow and long. I mean, far H is not slow for how big it is, right? I would say this is an amazing button. This is a pretty good button, and these are not. I would not call her far L stubby, right? This doesn't seem stubby to me, right? I don't think her far L is like it's a normal far L, right? I would not say that it's a stubby far L. It's just not like an insane far L. 2B's 5H, but faster and a little small. Did we make it to master? Yes, we did. So again, I think her buttons are overall, I think, a strength, right? Because, again, there's not a ton of recovery on these either compared to a lot of mediums, I think, right? Like, not an insane amount. Like, we just get, like, I always like to use Grand, because Grand's far M is juice to the gills, right? So it's always a good way for me to compare mediums. Yeah, right? It's a frame more recovery than Grand's far M. And now, Grand's far M is better than this far M. Grand's far M is about as big in 7 frames, right? And it's got one less frame, it's probably not one less frame of recovery, it's just one less frame of startup, right? So it's not a super committal button, right? The recovery frames on her shit is not that bad. Even her her far H is only 31 frames? And it's 13 of them are startup and like 5 of them are active frames? This thing is not, this thing is even better than I thought. That is not a lot of recovery, no wonder it's even on block. Yeah, man. Yeah, her button, like, this is an amazing button, and then this is a pretty good one, and the rest of them are, like, okay to normal. Her 2U, I will say, not good, right? Man, I actually hit master, thanks for all the advice. Brick, I'm glad to hear it, DX, good job, good job. Her 2U is not very good, right? Her 2U is not very good. Also, it's low, mid, interesting. They did a similar thing to riding free, right? Like, Siegfried and Zeta have multi-hit 2Us that are both lows. Hers is low, mid. I didn't know that. Her far H might be ignorant. Yeah, this actually is straight up just one of the best 5Hs in the game. This is directly competing with stuff like 2B's 5H, right? It has pros and cons over 2B's 5H. Now, probably, again, Catalina probably just has the best one, but, and Belial, I think, also still has a really, really good one, but this is in that tier. This is in, like, that Z tier of far Hs, right? With characters like Catalina, Belial, 2B, shit like that. It has so little recovery, and it's so big, and again, it's so rewarding on hit, and it's even on block, right? Like, from range, you can just do this twice, and very few characters are gonna, like, challenge that, basically. So yeah, her buttons overall, I think, are a strength. A bunch of, like, okay buttons, and then one good one, and one amazing one, right? So we'll take that. And then, I think she does, like, quite high damage, even in the mid-screen, right? This character seems to hit people pretty hard. Now, she needs a setup, right? But again, her setup, I have not found the meteor to be that hard to come by. Now, I love the medium meteor because I'm greedy, right? But if you just want to use the light meteor or even the EX meteor, and like you get the same kind of rewards. Like the stuff where, for example, you know, if you get like a 5U on someone, you get to extend that with 6xH. You get that shit, even, let's go non-counter hit even. I'm pretty sure you get that shit regardless of what level meteor you have, right? Yeah, right? So she gets like that nice reward even if you do the light meteor. And light meteor is incredibly easy to come by. Finding 30 frames to do this, right, is so easy, especially because all of Galleon's moves knock the opponent down for so goddamn long. And if you want a little bit of extra oomph, right, the cooldown's not this long on this, right? So doing the EX version is very viable, right? And then you get just, you know, some really nice resourceless mid-screen, potentially, if you have this up, right? And even just without the reward it gives you, just the area denial of half the screen like this is so good. Right? So I think her general game, and honestly, the more I'm talking about Galleon, the more I'm like, wait, maybe she is really good. Because the main weaknesses I can think of do feel kind of mitigated, right? By either like, you know, oh, she can't like close distance that fast from full screen, but she doesn't really want to. She kind of really wants you to come to her, right? I could see her struggling, I will tell you, I think I could see her struggling against characters like Metera, like Vikala, right? Like projectile zoners like that. Mostly those two. Maybe Eustace, right? Eustace, Uno, characters that can sit, like, cause she really does want to force you to come to her with shit like this, right? But for characters that is gonna beat her from full screen, I think she's going to have a hard time. Again, yeah, Fairy, maybe, Metera, Vikala, the grappler-ish character loses to zoners, right? I can tell you from experience that Vikala and Versuja win versus her. Versuja I can see with the M-Pillar buffs too, right? So I think she's going to struggle against characters where just doing this isn't, like, enough of space control, and it doesn't just force them to come to you, right? But even then, right, I don't think that she's, like, hopeless from full screen, right? I guess it's that, you know, that is going to force her to, like, interact in some ways that are less favorable for her. She has a couple of surprisingly good anti-fireball options, right? Like this. Well, I mean, I think probably the medium version, I think is probably going to be better. Oh, it is the H version. Okay, yeah. Right? Like this from this sort of mid-range, a surprisingly good, like, anti-fireball option, right? If they throw a fireball at your ass, you can jump over it and kill them for it. This, I don't really know if this is fast enough to matter, right? But this is a pretty decent anti-fireball tool, right? It really is. You can probably even, yeah, go to the apex of your jump a little bit more just to make sure that it actually reaches, right? That's a pretty decent anti-fireball tool. So it's not like she's helpless in those matchups. But I do think those are the kind of things that are going to make her struggle a little bit more. Right? She does not have like a traditional U fireball or EX fireball or something like that to just fight long-range zoning. Right? So I think it is going to be the matchup she struggles in. But even then, I don't think it's going to be like she just gets invalidated in said matchups. How low can you TK the dive kick? Let's see. I think pretty low, right? What is the actual input for it? Is it the Potemkin Buster input? It is, right? Or is it 214? Oh, it's 214. Okay. So you TK it like this. I mean, not super low, but you know. 214 in the area. Low enough. 2-2U, kind of nice too for anti-zoning. Also true, yeah. This is a pretty nice anti-zoning tool, right? It's kind of like a CAG spike. So again, I don't think even there, I don't think she's like helpless, right? So like, honestly, the more I talk about Galleon, the more I am just, she does feel like, because again, we talk about all these weaknesses she has and how they're mitigated, but like when that's not in play, her screen control is insane. Her damage, even in the mid screen, is actually quite high, right? Even like if she has her win con, right? Even like her resourceless mid screen, like most characters. Let's even be a little bit more realistic. Let's do this, right? Most characters do not get. Oh, I will say, yeah, that's why you do want the M. Is it's a little bigger, right? So I guess we probably like just do this to be safe or something like that. A lot of characters do not get this much damage. Now, resourceless is a bit of a lie because you need the meteor. But again, it feels like saying, oh, Galleon needs meteor. It feels a little bit like saying like Grimnir needs seals, right? Like the meteor is going to be there. The meteor is going to be there, and if it's not being there, it's because you're letting Galleon bring you to her preferred space by respecting the meteor, right? So I think like, you know, most characters are not getting, you know, this much damage in the mid screen for nothing, right? And she also has pretty good, like, she has pretty good corner carry if she wants to with this, right? Doing stuff like this. It's pretty decent. High damage, right? High damage and good corner carry, and once again, the knockdown's plus 39, so right back into the win con, it loops into itself. I'd see also call her very good. It helps her meteor never, ever goes away. Yeah. So the more I think about it, honestly, and then obviously, I mean, in the corner, this character hurts, right? This character is doing like 11k levels of damage, right? Like, you know, hypothetically, some shit like this happens to you, right? This is very realistic, right? There's nothing on this even counter hits, right? You eat this, and this is like 11,400, 500 damage, something like that, right? Yeah, 11,000 damage, right? So she's hitting very hard, right? She's hitting like she does like grappler level damage, sir, right? And again, she needs the meteor, but again, Galleon needing meteor is like, you know, boom. It's up and I'm plus 13, right? There's nothing hard at all about Galleon getting her meteor up, right? Even just out of like regular ass like combo enders, like I do this, right, into that, just like my normal ass like BMB, right? First off, a good damage BMB. Second, I'm plus 39, aka I have my win condition back up, right? There's nothing hard about Galleon needing meteor to be up, right? It feels like one of the more, like she's a two-step character, but again, it's kind of like a joke two-step character. So it's, I think, maybe she is good. Maybe she is good. Now, I will say, again, a lot of this is going to determine on, like, how easy it turns out to be to fuzzy jump this command grab. But I think because it has, like, it's got a shit ton of active frames, and she's mostly doing it off, like, knockdown situations and shit, I think if she just goes, like, tick throw, right? Like, if I record a Galleon, if I record a Galleon doing something like, I want to do 2 different recording slots actually. Right? So if I record her doing, say, she wants to do like close L into H command grab, right? And then how do you do recording slots again? I haven't done this in a little bit actually. Wait. Replay modes? No, that's not what I'm thinking of. Punish training, character guides. Where am I thinking of it? Opponent? Thank you. Dummy action recording settings. Thank you. Okay, so now recording slot 2. So that was 1, and then we're gonna have her do close L, close H or something for the second recording slot, right? Close L. Hold on. Close L, close H, right? So now we're gonna have her do slot 2 half the time and slot 1 half the time, right? And it's gonna be random, right? So now she should do that half the time and wait. There you go, that half the time, right? So I think there is going to be a timing where like you can basically just delay tech for a bit. It is, I will say it is slow. Her close H being kind of slow, I will say is kind of nice, right? But I do expect there is going to be a bit of a timing here where you can just down back for a bit and then jump. I will close H at least is actually slow enough that it really helps, I think. Interesting, but I guess is close L, close H a real frame trap becomes the real question, right? It may. I just realized it may not be, because then if both of them lose to mashing, then we're kidding ourselves, right? Hold on, selected slot for a second. Yeah, okay, never mind. We have to do something a little faster. I guess it'll be close L, close M, right? Or close L is +4 on block. Yeah, close L, close H is not a real frame trap. Close L is +4, yeah, so let's do like close L, close M, right? Close L, close M, and then she can, yeah. So if she does bonk, bonk, I call that the slot, yeah. So now, this I think is where the gap is going to start to get a little bigger, right? If you want to have an actual frame trap in here. Playback random, right? Probably down back for a bit and jump on a delay. It is, again, it is still later than I would expect, right? But yeah, right? Like there is... Yeah, there is certainly something, like, you start to see kind of what I mean, right? I'm doing my best to not even look at Galleon. I'm doing my best to kind of just... Okay, you know what? Right? I fucked it up right there. But yeah, I'm doing my best to just try my best to just figure out the timing, right? And again, I've not, like, it is slower than, like, your average delay tech, but you kind of see what I mean, right? You see what I mean in the sense of, there is, like, the fact that her command grab is slow is not really so much about reacting to it, more so about the fact that there is going to be, like, a fuzzy jump timing here you can get down, right? That is going to work out pretty well. You can also mix it up with U-grab. No, you can't. Why can you mix it up with U-grab? It's the same speed, basically. It's slower, if anything, actually. Why would U-grab work? U-grab is slower, generally. If you're jumping H-grab, you're jumping U-grab in time, right? U-grab is 12 frames? No, it's not. It's there. You have to always account for the fact that there's the U-skill slowdown, right? Like it's 12 frames mechanically in game, but the amount of time passing, right, is going to be like 20. Again, I think the U-skill flash is 15 frames. It's 10 or 15. I always forget. So it's either 22 or 27, right? Again, think if that logic was correct, right? If your logic was correct, right, that would mean that Diva's U lariat was unreactable. This thing gets in 16 frames. This is not an unreactable move, right? This is not an unreactable move. It's actually like a 26 frame move or a 31 frame move or whatever it is, right? The U skill slowdown, it is a factor because you can also input during this. Now your character is going to do their input, like they're going to move through that input in half speed while the U skill slowdown is happening. But you, the player, if you're doing like on a delay and jumping, that like it is 26 frames of time passing, not 12 frames or 16 frames of time passing, right? The main benefit of U-grab is it being bigger, less so the speed. Yeah. But again, if you're doing this fuzzy jump timing, it's going to work on H-grab, it's going to work on U-grab better, if anything, right? I hate U-skill slowdown. You want U-skills to be even better? Again, you realize without U-skill slowdown, Diva's U-lariat is unreactable, right? This shit is straight up unreactable. I don't think so. But yeah, so point being, that is, I think, that's the kind of thing we're not going to see in S++, right? This game will be so toxic without it. I mean, every U-skill will be unreactable, straight up, right? Yes, I'm a useless player. I have a 12-frame projectile. You don't have a 12-frame projectile. You have a 22-frame projectile. U-Flamek is 11 frames. It's 21, right? If you're saying you would want it to be 12, fair enough. But again, you are not the main beneficiary of this. If you think Eustace would be the main beneficiary of U-skill slowdown getting removed, you got another thing coming, buddy. I don't think so. I think you would really dislike the game if that's what happened. But yeah, so point being, this is the kind of thing I think that's going to make Galleon a little worse, right? As the main beneficiary is like Abel. Oh my god, Abel 214U being literally unreactable. Yeah, and his fireball, like, yep. It's good the uses are reactable when you're doing nothing but fast enough to guarantee punish your opponent press something. Yes, exactly, and that's exactly why the slowdown exists, right? It makes it so that if you are hitting a button and they do this, it is actually going to kill you, right? But if you're not doing anything, you can react and kill them for it, right? It's actually very. I really like the use. Like, if I think it's one of the more well-designed things about use skills, how the slowdown works. But yeah, point being, that like the fact that it probably is going to be pretty easy to fuzzy jump her command grab in a lot of cases, right? I think is actually going to hurt her a lot as people get better, right? Now the question becomes, if like say you're in like some normal Oki situation with Galleon, right? Whatever that may be. I guess this probably isn't a normal Oki situation with Galleon. I don't know. Say you got a light command grab to land or something like that, right? How plus are you off this shit? Plus 19. So yeah, it's like there probably is a timing where you can make it so that the gap between you hitting them and throwing them is just the wake up throw invuln, or even 3 frames, right? So say for example that I time it so I meaty them with a close H in such a way that the close H hits them on the 3rd frame that they get up, right? First time viewer, your super chat / bit system is terrifying. I couldn't put up with that. It's pretty fun. Again, I mean, we are at this point, we've gotten pretty good at picking up new characters, and we are basically just like smurfing on people that we fight, right? And they made the rank system easier twice since we started doing this. So like, I like, you know, giving back a little bit by maybe actually, you know, being forced to play with like one hand or something like that, so I'm not just taking all the gems from the S++s. I'm pretty happy about that. I got no problem with it, and I got money out of it, so I'll take it. Also, Merp, long time no see, man. Thanks for the raid. Have a good rest of your stream. Thank you, Go. Thank you. We just talked about Galleon, and we got her to master. I'm trying to think about how good she might be. Now again, here's the thing, right? I think you can make it. For Lucy, his 2.5 tier should be no 5U. Good point. So I think you can make this, right? So that you can time, if I knock her down, please don't block Galleon, right? There is going to be some sort of setup, or you can even manually time it if you're cracked, right? There's going to be some sort of setup here where I can make it so that 5H hits them on the 3rd frame they get up, right? Like say I'm like plus 8 or something like that, right? But I guess, but then, yes, you're going to have to find some normal. But you have to hit them on the 3rd frame they get up, right? Ideally. And then you have to command grab them on the 6th frame that they get up, or the 7th frame, right? Because that's where the throw invuln runs out. So at that point, you've actually, even though the command grab is slow, you've used the knockdown to minimize the gap in between the two hitting. And then it gets a lot hard. At that point, it's like Diva, right? Diva, at a certain point, there is always going to be a gap between the strike and the throw landing in this video game. Even Diva, with her unreactable command grab, cannot get away from this, right? So it is possible, even Diva, it is possible to fuzzy jump her on the command grab to some extent. And that's why, like, it does matter a little bit how good you are when, in terms of guessing that grab from Diva. Now, of course, there are things the Diva player can do in terms of slight delays and things like that might fuck up your timing and all of this. But it is even possible to do to Diva. It's just way harder than it is to do to a character like Galleon because of the difference in speed in the command grab, right? Making it so that there's a much bigger gap between the strike hitting and the command grab hitting. When one of them is 6 frames, one of them is 21, compared to one of them being 6 frames, one of them being 5 frames, right? But there are going to be ways to mitigate this through Oki setups. Now, I don't know what those are, right? But I'm saying this is the kind of thing that, again, could be mitigated through character development. But it probably, I think, is going to end up being Galleon's actual biggest weakness, is that this big-ass, slow-ass command grab, right, is going to lead to some amount of fuzzy jumps being very viable against him, right? Now, if she does catch you with a close H or something like that as you try to jump, she's gonna send you straight to fucking Valhalla, right? The character does so much damage off even like regular ass anti-airs in the corner, right? So again, it's gonna be kind of, it's gonna be a little bit of a Vasaraga factor, or like, you know, you can fuzzy jump Vasaraga's EX command grab too. Now, of course, Vas is a much faster one, right? But Galleon can certainly make your life pretty miserable if you do end up fucking... we won't even use all the combo limit, by the way. We can definitely do better than that, right? But Galleon certainly can make your life pretty miserable if you do fuck up this fuzzy jump, right? So there's gonna be some fear there, some risk reward, right? It's not like this is a weakness that just turns off the character entirely, right? Is +4 enough to get off the ground out of mash range? No. right? It may very well, like, if you only have 4 frames, right, and you jump, you are gonna get caught by the close L for sure. I think pre-jump, there's 4 pre-jump frames in the video game, right? So again, like, if you can make it to where there's only a 4-frame gap, you basically turn off the fuzzy jump. But again, Galleon is gonna have a very hard time doing that, I think, right? He's gonna have to find certain Oki setups. It depends on what you're catching it with, though, right? Is it meaty? Is it not meaty, right? The point being, right, that I think it is going to be, this is probably her biggest weakness, but I do think it's very mitigatable through just, you know, more labbing, basically. So, with all of that being said, right, honestly, I came into this, I hadn't really thought about Galleon, I was kind of playing her and going, hot booby dragon lady, oh my god, I love her. But as I kind of think about her more, I think this character probably is actually pretty strong, right? I don't think. Yeah, I'm not quite sure that I want to say this character is broken or anything like that. I don't think so, right? Galleon has weaknesses most mitigatable, yeah, and her strengths feel pretty good to me, right? Very high damage, very good screen control, like strong buttons, just like a lot of mental stack for your opponent to keep track of. You know? Hold on. She feels high mid-tier to me? I don't know. She feels... I mean, is this character, you know who else, like, is this character better than Lucilius? Probably, right? I don't know, is this character better than, I guess maybe what I think is a high mid-tier is just not what other people think is a high mid-tier, but what are her worst matchups? Probably, if I had to guess, characters like Fairy, characters like Metera, characters like Eustace, characters like Versuja, characters like Uno, characters that can beat her from full screen, and who don't have to just respect this, right? Metera is awful, I'm not an expert. Yeah, I think characters who are going to be able to beat her from full screen and force her to, like, use her anti-fireball options and stuff like that, which I don't think are... They exist, but they're not, like, spectacular, right? And she can't exactly close distance very well because of how slow she is, right? Now, against a lot of the cast, she doesn't have to close distance, but against people who will force her to do so, I think she will struggle, right? I think she will struggle. I think Bubs is, like, the matchup. I don't know if Bubs beats her from full screen, because he, like, all of his Black Flies buffs just don't help him with this, right? Makes him better in Fireball Wars. She just doesn't even partake in Fireball Wars, right? This is like this is also, right, like a good anti-zoning tool, but it costs meter, obviously. I think I'll put her around Sandy level, wherever that is, with way more polarizing matchups. Yep. If she hits the ground with her cane, is it unblockable? No, but it hits low. It's not unblockable, but you have to block it low, right? Or spot dodge it. But yeah, I mean, okay. 2-2 is plus 11 on block, good to know. I had a set against Metera earlier, and I can agree that matchup sucks. Yeah, but like fear. I haven't fought a Metera, but like on paper, I think it's pretty obvious. Yeah, characters like that who can beat her from full screen and don't have to worry about this rock as much, right? Are gonna be a lot. But also, keep in mind how fast, even like if she's like in this sort of like middle-ish distance, right? Like this is an 18-frame thing that leads into the rock, right? So like, even then, like as soon as she gets to like this distance, she's going to be fighting those characters like Metera, like Fairy, like a lot better, right? This becomes basically an 18-frame, like half-screen normal that if you get hit by it, right, is going to lead into a fucking 6/6H conversion. Right? So I don't think those matchups are like unplayable for her, but it is certainly going to be her toughest matchups, I think. Pretty sure the other Rockfall can be plus 16. Yep. What's the fastest you can release full screen ground pound? I think it's 33, right? I don't think you can partially charge this. So full screen ground pound is more like a fireball, a fast fireball, but like as far as, you know, where it gets to you, but it's more like a fireball. But yeah, her H buttons are really, really good. This especially, this is like one of the best 5 H's in the whole game. Call Grappler. My God, synchronization. With all that being said, you know what? Fine. I was gonna be like, you know, I don't think I know enough about her to like place her on a tier list anyway. Let's place her on a tier list. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this ages horribly, but I think I actually do have an idea of where I think I would want Galleon to go. Now, perhaps I'm incorrect. Perhaps I'm incorrect. But I think talking this through and actually analyzing it, I think I do have an idea. I think I do. Don't worry about the lists necessarily, just because this also is not updated. For, like these guys, I mean. All right, I'll tell. Like, if I had to try right now, I just like guess as to where things are. I think probably both of these guys have like jumped up like half a tier. This guy's probably top tier now. I think maybe on the lower-ish end of it, right? This lady drops like a tier and a half just by losing her fuzzy. That's like horrible. I think Diva probably moves up like a little bit on like the higher mid-tier side of things. Granny needs to be a little bit higher up here. Right? All like I don't know, right? There's a lot that could change here, right? Because the patch is a big deal, certainly. All right. Beatrix probably is not really like, probably honestly I think both of these characters are probably still top tier, but it's kind of moved down a little bit, right? probably still better than Sora is, right? But yeah, man, this guy might genuinely be top 3, not even because he's that broken, but because like the power level of the top tiers has kind of gone down a little bit, right? Sora is S+. I think Sora is incredibly strong, yes. I think Sora is, has... How? I don't know, man. Why not? Besides not having a mirrorless DP, what isn't S+ about Sora's? High damage, good normals, one of the best anti-airs in the entire game. He does like 10k damage when he anti-airs you. Some of the most belligerent offense, 7-frame, DP attackable move that crushes everything and combos into like 7k damage on hit, 17,000 health, basically has a meterless DP and 5U, pretty ignorant 66H, good 6XL. He's just slow, basically, is the only thing that he doesn't have. Like, he's slow and does not have a meterless DP, right? Doesn't even struggle that much in like fireball matchups because you dash punch is a gun to the head of any zoner fighting him, right? At least 17k health. Yeah, he could have more, right? What isn't top tier about? Like what is the weakness on this character? I don't know. Command grab SSBA that's unjumpable. True, right? Like what doesn't he do? His highest damage starter is like baked into his win con, right? A character whose kit is incredibly synergistic, built around being -1 to 3 on block, and has a meterless 5U move, right? That punishes you, that starts armor up in 3 frames, that also leads deeper into his win condition. What is an S+ about Source? I don't know. He's kind of slow. He's kind of slow, right? That is true. But you know who else is kind of slow and probably top tier? This motherfucker, right? Yeah, don't worry about this too much, right? We can talk about the tier. I think, like, to talk about actually how things have shifted around, we probably need to wait a little bit longer, right? But I will say, if we just assume that these characters are, like, you know, that they do properly represent the tiers they're in, right? Galleon probably is actually somewhere around, like, here-ish, right? He feels pretty strong, actually. Like, the more I think about it, she's got some weaknesses for sure, but I think they do actually get... Bubs, by the way, is also probably higher now than he used to be, right? I think this character... I don't quite know if he's, like, here-ish, right? But Bubs did get, like, I thought, like, significantly buffed, and I thought he was already pretty good, right? But yeah, I don't know if this is right, but a lot of her weaknesses feel like they don't matter as much or can be mitigated by her strengths, and her strengths seem very, very good and applicable across, you know, 90% of the cast or something like that, right? Maybe this is too high? I don't think it's too low. I'll tell you that for free, right? I don't think it's too low. Maybe it's too high, but I feel good about Galleon. She feels strong, actually. Maybe in like a month and a half, I'll be like, nah, I also don't think there's any world where Galleon's like down here, right? If this is too high, it's because Galleon is like, you know, more so in these sorts of ranges, right? But I'm gonna put her here for now. She felt pretty good to play in the lower ranks, and even as I think about what might cause her to fall off a bit at the higher ranks, I think she has ways around that, right? I think she has ways around that. Galleon feels pretty damn solid to me, personally. And most importantly, she's fun as fuck, which is always a huge W. Good job, Side Games. Good patch. Again, though, maybe this guy, I don't know, if we're talking about healthy top tiers, this might not be, this might not be, right? This might not be a healthy top tier, but you know, don't worry about it. This is fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's okay. 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 Don't worry about it. Don't be shy. It's fine. It's fine.